If the business you're in does not pay for your business, you'll have no business being in business. That's a good quote. It's a 4-time, the word business is in there 4 times.
Jonas Bone Crusher, and you're watching the Art is King podcast. Cast.
Hey everybody, this is DTM, Delta Tango Mike. Working artist for 20 years. Been working as a full-time artist doing tattoos, digital art, traditional art, working on skin, paper, walls, canvas, anything you give me, I will try to draw with it. And so today I just want to go live for a little while and tackle a couple of questions that were brought to me by emerging artists. And as you know, we have a free meetup every month, usually the second or third Saturday of the month. And last weekend was the Artist King meetup at the Microsoft store in Lenox Square Mall. And what I like to share with artists when we do the meetups is my information so that they can follow up with some of the things that we discussed during the meetup. A lot of times I like to provide some solutions, some creative solutions on how artists can tackle their art career. But it's really a conversation, not a point-by-point plan. And so I ask artists to follow up with me so they can take the information I gave them, then come back and ask tighter questions that relate exactly to the situation they're working in. And in which case, then I'll answer the question through email, text, phone call sometimes, and most of the time through a live stream. All right, that way we can all learn. Everybody who's listening, anybody who's online, can get a chance to listen to the answer, see how that relates to their career, and then take it from there. How about that? So that's what I'm going to do. Not only am I going to answer a couple questions, I'm also going to show you some of my drawing process. Oh, that's when I need the glasses. All right, so that's where the glasses come in, so I can see what I'm doing. You can see my screen. As you can see, I've been drawing myself. This is an app called Sketchable. I'm gonna get to that questions in a minute, but let me see what I got here. So there's that guy, and those are that guy's stuff. So all these layers relate to this guy, and I'm checking because I'm about to simplify some of these layers, and I'm using Sketchable, like I said. There goes that guy, and Sketchable is one of my go-to apps for drawing everything and anything. I think that's these guys, and it's a good first step to getting to the drawing that you want in a very simple, easy to use app. Yeah, those are all those things. All right, so let me show you the initial sketches before I get into talking about the art biz. The business of art requires a lot more time and than what you expect, and it's almost as much time as is required for your to develop your talents. So the amount of time you spent developing your talents, imagine that much or as much time or more and energy working in the business of art. So here is some of the sketches that I started. I want to work on some stories that I have for myself, kind of in the comic form. And so I've been experimenting with the art style, trying to keep it simple, trying to keep it basic, but also very cartoon and loose. And so I've been playing with some styles, some head shapes. As you can see, got a very round head shape right there. And then and as I explore and try things out, I think I brought in a picture. I think I might have deleted it already. Brought in a picture of my faces. And so here's one face that I like taking pictures of myself. If you have a smartphone, some type of camera, take pictures of your face. Draw that. These are the pieces. These are the art pieces. There it is. See? That's when you need a director. So let's go back a little bit, sorry. So overall, you can see the sketches behind the drawings. These are all the sketches, the faces, the art style that I'm trying out, different body types. You got the super thick, weird triangle, slim triangle. Got the super muscles. Got one right here where the beard becomes part of the body. kind of like that too. And then so then ends up like the shoulders are all up by the ears. That's kind of cool. And then just big and weird sizes. But these are the faces that I've been playing with. And then here are more of faces back there. I take a lot of pictures of myself. I mentioned earlier, take lots of selfies. So you have a model to work from. You can be you. It could be you. And then and so I did a realistic approach, and I think this might be a trace. I might have traced it at first, though, this middle one, and then I did the coloring on my own, and then I did a cartoon version, which is the style that I'm going after. This one's a little bit too many lines, but that's what I want. Something like that. And so then more faces, more emotions, different body styles. I'm still playing with body styles right here. Then I finally got to this, and so I like I did the tones for different tone for the shirt, different tone for the beard, but at the end of the day, what I really wanted was something that kind of flows together, like this beard here. And so when you do that, then the shirt and the beard becomes one. But I like this line style here. And so in the last one, I combine them both. So then I can have the same color shirt as the beard, but then the beard and the shirt still have their own identity and shape. So I'm just playing around, kind of like this guy too. And so this guy, the head is kind of like inside of the shape. And you know what? Let me see. What's this? Nothing there. And this is one of the ideas that I really had, because then let's go like that. There we go. Then, because what happens is that we get this. And I just think it looks cool because then the head is like inside of the shape of the body. So I don't know, I'm just playing around. There's this one. This is the one I was talking about earlier. And so let's go with this, since I like that. Let's go. Okay. Why are we here, Dan? I'm sorry. It's a long story, right? But I need you to see what I'm going to draw it with and why. And I'm working on my character concept. What did we call these things? Character concept. Did I get rid of that page? I think I did. How'd that happen? No, it's got to be back here. No, it is lost. I had saved some stuff. I should have 3 model sheets. That's what it is. It's called model sheets. So I want to create a model sheet for my drawing for my character. Okay, so now, all right, let's get to it. So yes, back to the ATL and back to Artist King meetup. And the way it goes is that once the meetup is over, I still want to talk to artists about their situations and the things they're going through, so that I can offer a little extra insight. And so this artist says he has some questions. He graduated from school last year, and it's going to be a year and a half since he finished school. He's a little concerned about not finding a job right now. Can the length of time after college ruin your chances of getting a job? It's a question in two parts. Or should I be more concerned about my connections? Am I just not sure if the time will hinder my ability to get hired within the industry in Atlanta? And it's a very complicated question, very which shows a few things that did not go as they should have. And I think this is where I don't want to say that I don't like schools. It's just I think that schools are not preparing artists in what they in the business of art. And it doesn't have to be that they teach you how to be an entrepreneur or a freelancer. Is that they should teach you or guide you getting into the market. And I've been talking about this for a while now. It's like if you're a dentist, there's a path for the college, university, and then practice, helping. I don't know what the process could be. I do know that by the time you're a dentist, you have there's a receptionist. There's a way to set up an appointment. They charge your credit card, insurance, etc. There's a whole process to the business. So it is with doctors, and doctors. I do know a couple extra words like residency. They have residencies where the doctor works at a place for an amount of time to get themselves into the practice of being a doctor. There's nothing like that when it comes to artists. And so schools are doing a big disservice to artists when they don't discuss those things. And instead, the artist finds themselves out in the job market, and there is no path to gainful employment. So anyway, there goes my rant, right? So let's take the question in pieces, because it's like 4 different things here. Number 1, can the length of time after college ruin your chances of getting a job? No, but it's not a hard no. It is if you did not. It is because you did not take advantage of the time that when you were in college, and I don't know how stressful school can be, but there's a period of time when you're still in school where you can get internships, get to network in the community, and know who works here, what are the opportunities available to you, and trying out internships and apprenticeships so that you can get a feel for the particular company or that particular job. I know an artist who who went to school for 4 years, got a degree in animation, doesn't want to do animation. And so in his case, he's okay. He made different choices after and is able to recover. But that time spent in school, now it is not, you realize 4 years later that it's not what you want to do. And but that time in school is when you have to figure that out, because you're paying a lot of money or you're going to be in debt for a number of years. And so this is when you try things out. Now that you're out of school, it's not hurting your chances, but you're not giving yourself you don't have time to play around, try internships, try collaborations, because you have, and if you're an adult with responsibilities, and not just an adult in age, but one who has to pay their own bills and rent and so on. Now you have these responsibilities you have to handle, and so you can't just take any job or opportunity that's open, because you have bills that are coming up. And so it doesn't hinder you at getting a job. It's just that you don't have a lot of time to get that job. And so then you're liable to get jobs that you may not like, and you're gonna have to continue to test the waters till you get the right job. And it's gonna take it's still that amount of time is that it takes to go through bad jobs or bad situations to the actual job you're gonna end up liking. You're starting off a little bit late. That is all, and you can call it a hindrance if you want. You can call it a disadvantage, and there's nothing you can do about it, right? So okay, well then we can't do nothing about that. It's in the past. It's done. It's over. What do we do? Well, that's what the second part of that question asking. Should I be more concerned about my connections? And the answer is yes. So whether or not it's hindering your chances, the fact that you've been out of school for a good amount of time, I think that because we can't do nothing about it, it's time to push it out your head. So now we move that off your head and stop worrying about it, stop thinking about it, and start focusing on those things that you should focus on. That is, yes, your connections. And so now you need to follow through with those connections like way you would have if you were in school. And that is going to require internships or apprenticeships or collaboration opportunities with very little pay or none. But there should be a goal behind all these situations that you jump into, and the goal would be to either find the job you're looking for or work on projects you want to have under your belt, or even get experience with your creative process. Because one of the things that happens a lot, and this is in a different other situation with a different artist who went to school. I lost track of him for a year. Comes back, say, yeah, I finished, I got my degree. And it's like, well, what is your degree about? And it has to do with studio art or something like that. And once we talk about it, I realized that all he did was sit around and try different art mediums and pay money for that, get in debt, and we could have done that for free. I got all types of art materials we could have experimented with. And at the end of the day, he doesn't have a workflow or skills to market himself or have the portfolio necessary to market himself in the things that he wants to do. So not having a process is gonna keep you from jumping onto a job where your talent may be good, but because you don't have a process for how you handle your art and creative flow, you're a little riskier to work with, because there's no proof that you can follow through with a project in a timely manner. And that's where we have to look at ourselves as professional artists when discussing our skills to potential projects. Because if we don't have an understanding of time, of consistency, of dependability, and then that myth of an artist being unreliable is going to continue to hurt us. So you're building the connections, having a goal in mind. What do I want? What kind of job do I want? Do I want to do animation? Do I want to do 3D? Do I want to do comics? Do I want to do character concepts? Do I want to? Once you figure those things out, then you figure out, well, who do I want to work with? Who are the companies that are doing this thing that I want to work with, who have the kind of properties that I want to draw? So if I like drawing comics and I want to draw nothing but Batman, then that means I need to get in with DC Comics, right? There's no way out of it. Whether they pay what I feel the artists should get paid, or treat their artists right, or do they have the best movies going on right now? That is not my focus. My focus going to be what projects do they have coming up? Do they have any openings for these kind of artists? And what type of artist am I going to be? The letterer, the penciler, the storyboarder, the colorist, the whatever parts of the comic process. And then that means we also have to understand the process. And I think I might have misspoken a couple things there. But once I establish I want to draw comics, I want to draw Batman, and I'm good at this process. Okay, so now I start digging into that company and looking for that job and building up my collaboration projects. Maybe I work on my own personal projects for a while and make some Batman stories, or go over the inks that I find some pencil panels online because they're everywhere, or I write or draw five pages on a Batman script that I find online because it's out there. Then I have proof that I have the talent, proof that I understand a process, and I can do things in a timely manner. So if in that year and a half since school, you should have a lot of new art, and you should not be showing off any of that art that you did in school because it's been a year and a half. And if you're really deeply motivated and interested in this field, then there should be a whole bunch of more work that you've been doing for nobody but yourself, but you should have been doing it all along. So yes, should you be concerned with your connections? That's correct. There needs to be a strategy to it, and there should be lots of work to show that you've been working on something for a year and a half. So there we go. It's kind of long. I hope you can follow along, and if you have a question or something to add, please do so. All right, the second question, and it's really like the third question, but it's what it says here. My second question I had was about pricing when it comes to selling custom designs. All right, this is now we're entering the world of entrepreneurship. That's what it is. So there's a difference now, because first was jobs, so that's one different conversation, and now we're going to talk about entrepreneurship, because you're not just making the art, but you're also pricing the art. That means you're selling the art. I make custom illustrations of vinyl car stickers. Okay, yep. For customers, I usually give them an hourly rate. I don't know why. If by chance a project takes longer than expected, should I include that charge within the final payment? Yes, that question, if by chance a project takes longer than expected, should I include that charge within the final payment? Yes, because otherwise when are you going to ask for that money? And then now here's the second part to that question. Have you ever had to do that with a customer where they still willing to pay even if the price of the product should be more? So let's so I'm gonna talk about the whole thing in a minute, but let's answer that second question. Have you ever had to do that with a customer and were they still willing to pay even if the price of the product would be more? Have I ever had to do that with a customer? Yes, many times. The part of having to charge extra, and were they still willing to pay even if the price of the product would be more? It depends on the customer. Not all customers are okay with that, and there's a couple of parts on why the way the question is framed and the situation, it's bad business, or it's gonna harm you in the long run. And so let's take this whole paragraph. You make custom illustrations and vinyl car stickers and usually give them an hourly rate. Bad business. Don't give them an hourly rate. Okay? No hourly rate. Say it to yourself, no hourly rate. And the reason for that is because your focus and your value to this customer should be the fact that you can create this thing for them that they need and want. Not that you can do it in a certain amount of time, and it's the actual you're selling the final product, and when you start talking about hourly, then people start looking at you for the how much it's going to cost to do something versus somebody else. I had this question from a customer, a potential customer. We ended up not doing business. And so they were asking me, I think it was about illustration design, yep. And they were asking me a bunch of things, and I was answering. And then at the end of our conversation, once they realized that I was not going to budge with my price, and I'm not like everyone else, and I think they still didn't realize I was not like every other artist out there who was try to smooth out any question they have to get the gig. So the final question, and this is over the phone, was why should we work with you versus someone else who would be charging less? Why should we work with you versus someone else who would be charging less? So I contained myself. I'm 20 years into this business. They called me. They'd seen my work. They know I can do what they want, but they still want to haggle me down. And there's many reasons why I would work for less. Financial, the monetary part, but there's gonna be always something that I want. So so I'm okay with having those discussions as long as they have something that I want. But her question was, why should we go with you versus someone else who's charging less? And I think she said it sounded like they were talking to somebody else about it. So they obviously have somebody who's charging less. So I calmly, relaxed, nice and relaxed, I said, well, I don't know who else you're talking to, so I couldn't answer that. That's it. I'm not going to get into a competition with somebody I don't know. Oh my God, they're charging you less. Well, how much? What do you mean $20? They doing all this for $20? Oh, well, I guess I could do it for $20. I'll tell you what, let's go half on that. Make it 25. No. I guess if I only work for 1 hour, I guess I could knock that out. Those are responses that come out of fear. Those are responses that come out of, I need to be cheap because otherwise these clients are not going to come to me. I won't get paid, and I will have a much harder time paying my bills. But you know that even with that low price, you're still having a hard time paying your bills. So you need to scratch that off your mind, scratch that off your system. You do not talk like that. You do not refer to yourself like that. You need to know your price of what it takes for you to live. What it takes for you to put in work for a certain amount of hours. And there goes another part of this. So you need to know how long it takes you to do something so that you know how much you should get paid for this particular project. And so you need to know, okay, I'm doing this illustration for vinyl stickers, I need to go back to that too. So I'm doing this illustration for vinyl stickers. They need an illustration. It's gonna be done in vinyl as a sticker, and that's what they're paying me for. I don't know if they're paying for the sticker only or for the illustration and the sticker. I myself would charge them for the illustration, and I'm gonna go into that conversation in a minute. But they're asking about we're talking about vinyl stickers and illustrations. Okay, cool. So it takes me, let's say because I'm imagining vinyl stickers, how simple they are, and solid color, one color, no background. So there's really a lot of silhouette and trickery with let me see, nothing around here that shows that kind of art. Then it has to be very simple. So let's say 8 hours. All right, one day. If you want to get paid minimum wage, $10 an hour, then that means the price is $80. If you want to get paid $20 an hour, then that means the price is $160. Let's say $250 would be a good number. So for $250, now that means $25 an hour. But if I first unforeseen, so I quote the client $250. It's like, boom, you want this illustration? That's awesome. I can do that for you. I can have it for you in a couple of days, maybe I say a week. Hello, Mr. Leslie Foltz. That's my man right there. And I'll have it for you in a week. So I take a deposit, and for $250, I'm taking all the money up front. And I'll have a sketch for you in 5 days, and then I'll have the final in 2 weeks. And so now I know in my mind I'm putting 10 hours of work. Into this 8 hours. 10 hours would be at $250. That's $25 an hour. It's like, cool, I can put 10 hours on it. But let's say that it takes you extra time. There's a change in the design or a request once the sketch comes out, and now you have to spend another extra 2 hours. That's cool. Go ahead and do that. So now you went from 10 to 12, and that's not including the time. That's just design illustration time, not client time, not answering emails time, not on the phone or going to meet them and gas money and answering emails time. This is just drawing illustration time. So it goes from 10 hours to 12 hours. So what's that math on that? It's $20 an hour. So now you done taking down your price. But you ain't said that to the client. You just know in your head and in your documents, internal documents, that, dang, this took me longer than I thought. So now, but you eat that price, you eat that money, you take that hit. So now you know the next client that comes around, now you know he's like, yeah, that sounds simple, but that's gonna be like 15 hours of work, because you got to add in a couple hours for the emails, for the texts, and maybe one more change. You got to have a proof, and then they got to approve it or ask for some changes. So around the changes, so you need to add that into it. So next thing you know, it's 20 hours. You add it all up, it's like, dang, it's taking me 20 hours to do this. I'm not going to tell my client, well, it's $10 an hour, so 20 hours, yeah, it's $200. Because then they're like, why is it taking you 20 hours? I saw you draw this other thing the other day, and it took you 5 minutes. I saw you on the internet, on Facebook, drawing, and it took you no time. I think you're trying to scam me. You see, when you start talking about hourly, then it adds a whole nother element to negotiations. And now you're starting to negotiate line by line about something, and I don't do that. What I do, and let me just finish this part before I go back to that custom illustrations and vinyl card stickers. What I do is I know my price. I know how much I need to get paid: $50 an hour, $100 an hour, depending on the project. I know because I've done it so many times over these character illustrations, children's book illustrations. I've done outsides of design. I know what it takes for me to do the work. So I go ahead and throw it up there. Yeah, that's 40 hours. And so even if I know that I can knock it out in 20, and if I can knock it out in 20, then that's great. But if I knock it out in 40, I'm not going back to the customer like, you know what, there was a few hiccups, or your changes, they're a little bit more complicated than I expected. You do that in the beginning, and that's when you're learning the business and how you handle your process. But as time goes on, you need to get past that and then start talking and negotiating from a whole different perspective, where now you overshoot the time that you need, you overshoot the price that you need, and then you hopefully are able to stay within those that price point so that you win. And so for me, it's like, yeah, that's $1,200. That's my starting price for mostly anything. But for 40 hours, $50 an hour, what's that? 40, 50, that's 2,000. Yeah, $2,000. Oh, damn, that's too much. It's too high. Yeah, okay. I was thinking more like 150. Well, sadly, you're not going to get a good artist to work with you when it comes to $150. You're going to get someone who's desperate and needs that $150. And so what I suggest to you, Mr. Client, is that you go ahead and get about at least $1,000 before you talk to the next artist. Can you refer me somebody who'll do it for $250? No. Can you refer somebody who'll do it for $1,000? No, because the only other artists that I count on are professional artists, and they also demand to get paid for their work, what they're worth. And if I send them a client that's cheap and doesn't want to pay up, after a while they'll be like, Dan doesn't do nothing but send us cheap clients. No, I can't do that. So what I like to tell clients, like, yeah, I can't work with that price point. For if you do have $1,000, then we can do this much of the artwork. We can do the characters this kind of way, and you can still use it for what you want. Which then brings up another point. And here's an example. So I know this other artist, and she makes book covers, like book covers. Yeah, that's it. She does awesome, beautiful artwork, awesome illustrations, and for books, horror books, and we were talking about her business and how much she charges and what she does. And here's an example of a children's book that I did. Here's a guy, Mr. E the Motivator, who is the subject of the book. There's some sketches, more sketches, more sketches, sketches, constantly sketching, and then finally the book. In any case, this is what I wanted to show you when I was talking about I know how long certain amount of work, how much work what my process is, so I know how much work I need to put in, and I know how much time it takes. And I'm gonna go back to that story. So Wayman Humphrey says, should they ask for less? What if the artist starting out? Then that's a whole nother question. I mean, a whole nother situation that I have steps for. But then, yes, that's when the hourly can come in, or you're working for collaboration. You could work for less, but never work less than minimum wage. Never price yourself for less than minimum wage. And let's say we're talking about paintings. Never sell the painting for less than what it costs you to pay for the art materials plus time for yourself. Just because you're starting out, that doesn't mean that you should be taken advantage of. That just means you're inexperienced. Which then come Artist King or mentorship programs or C4 Atlanta, other things in the arts community come into play as CIFA. And My Animation Life. These are organizations that will talk to you and say, okay, you're starting out, you have very little work. Let's fix a few things before you start looking for clients. Because when you start looking for clients, you need to be at this particular level. We don't start looking for clients and don't know what we're doing. We can't do that. We need to stop doing that. It's like football. You want to be a professional football player and get paid what Julio Jones is getting paid. Great. But you don't have any equipment. You ain't never been, the only football you ever played was with friends and family, and that's flag football. That doesn't mean that you're ready for the pros. There's a whole lot of things you have to go through to get into the pros to even get paid as a pro. So it is with art. Just because you have a pencil, a tablet, an iPad, a Surface, a beautiful Cintiq, doesn't mean that you're ready to start charging or looking for clients when you don't have certain basic things ready in your process to then start talking to clients. So even if you are starting out, you don't ask for less than what your value should be. All right, so back to the story. Thank you for that question, Mr. Wayman Humphrey. Check him out, the Mad Penciler. We did a show together, and I'm slowly releasing the episodes of that show on the YouTube channel. So back to my story. So this artist, and we're looking at how much she charges and what she's doing, and I'm like, you charging too little. This is, she's telling me she got like 20 clients or 20 projects lined up. And it's like, how much is that? And once we start talking the money, it's like, that's a lot of work. And I said, if you were charging double, which you could, you don't need any more jobs for the rest of the year. Like, you're done. This is it. They're going to have to wait till 2020. And the more we talk, I realize why she's at the rate that she's in. And I haven't, followed up with her, so I'm not sure where we at with that. But this is what she tells me then. She says, well, if I charge more, then that will go over their budget, and they're not going to make their money back selling the books. What? I don't care about their business. I do care, but that part does not have anything to do with me. If they can't sell enough books, that is not my responsibility to charge at a rate where they can still be in business and sell their books and still make their profit or break even or whatever. That's their business. They're in the book business. I'm in the art business. And it is my responsibility for myself to charge what I deserve for the work that I do. And this is where that vinyl, let me see where it says custom illustrations and vinyl card stickers comes into play. Is that we got to stop thinking about ourselves and our art as, oh, that art, since it's only going in this book cover, since it's only going in this children's book, since it's only going in a sticker, since it's only going in a book cover, because it's only a comic book, because it's only a comic book page, because it's only animation, because it's only, then that means that the industry rate is right here. That means I have to do a lot more of these things at this level because that's what they pay. And my answer is like, nah, they better get their business together. I have a bunch of pet peeves. Big ups, Wayman Henry, for saying that's their problem. I have a few pet peeves, but and I don't want to go too much into it. But if the business not paying, if the business you're making is not, if the business you're in does not pay for your business, you'll have no business being in business. That's a good quote. It's a 4-time. The word business is in there 4 times. That's it. So what I said to her was, and this is what I'm saying to you also, artists who asked the question, is that you have to look at your art in all the places that art can live. Not just the book cover. Not just the vinyl card sticker. If you're making an illustration or drawing some kind of art, unless you're selling the original piece, now that we're working digital, there are no original pieces, unless you embellish it, print on canvas, G-clay, and all this other stuff that you can do to it. Unless you're selling that original piece, that piece, and then even then, because it can get scanned, that art can live on anything and everything. That book company could use those book covers and make merchandise, print T-shirts, make posters. Who knows? There are fans of that book series who may want that artwork. There's this guy, Orlando Aracena. I talk about him a lot because I admire his work and his work ethic and the connections that he has. He's really deep into what he does, and he's a vector artist, which I love vector. Adobe Illustrator. He does album covers, DVD covers and posters for movies, for Fox and every other one out there, Paramount, whoever. He's done almost every a version, not necessarily the official, necessarily the official poster, but he's done at least one version of a poster for every Marvel movie out there. He is constantly working and creating, and the artwork that he creates does not just live in a poster. Sometimes they do these DVD reissues, and his artwork is the one that's in the front cover. And then, of course, you have little booklets. The artwork is in there too. And if you go through Amazon, you'll find a shirt and it has the artwork in there, official licensed artwork, or licensed merchandise. Your artwork could live in so many different places. It could touch so many different items and merchandise that you do not price yourself at the level that the industry wants to keep you, because you're working on this one art that lives in this one thing, and that's what the market will bear. Nah. No. Sorry, I get excited. So that's a conversation that I still have to follow up with that artist. But when it comes to you right now, is that when it says, the artist says, I make custom illustrations and vinyl card stickers for customers, I have to dig in deeper and find out, are you creating the illustration, giving it to the client, and then making the vinyl stickers for them too? Or are you just making the artwork that they go get vinyl stickers done with? Are you working in a partnership with a vinyl sticker company, and they bring you the business for the clients that they're coming through to them? Because I have those situations with t-shirts, and sometimes I don't deal with the client themselves. I deal with the printer. What is going on here that you're really doing, because that will affect the price of what you're charging. But don't give out your hourly rate. I usually give them my hourly rate. No, because then they'll say, oh, this will take you 10 minutes. Here's $20. Here's $10. Like, it takes me 10 minutes just to turn on the computer. get all the updates to charge up, and open up the program. You do not do hourly rate. If you want to think of hourly, which you should, think about how long is it going to take you, what's your minimum price going to be. And when the beginning, for me, it was $150. I know that's $75 an hour. I can work for, let me double check if that's running. Yeah, it's still on. I need to make $75 an hour. This project has to be no less, it's going to be no less than $150. So that means I give myself 2 hours. But I already spent an hour answering emails and phone calls and going to meet the client somewhere or them coming to my office. So I only have 1 hour to knock this out. Otherwise, if it takes 4 hours, now I'm working for $35 an hour. And if it takes 5 hours, now I'm working for $30 an hour. If it takes 10 hours, now I'm working for $15 an hour. That's how you think about the hours. But when it comes to the client, you're like, yeah, that's a good design. Yes, sir, I love that design. That's great. Yes, we can do that. There's a skull with some flames coming out the ears and eyes. Oh, yeah, I like it. How much is that going to be, Dan? I'm into giving out the Illustrator file. Say, so it's $150, and no, I would say $250. That's my minimum price would be for that from now on for you. $150 at the very basic. If you want to be like, ask the question like Wayman says, what if you're starting out? But really, $150 wouldn't last for long. I do that for the next 5 customers, and then I'm jumping to $250. So yeah, that'd be $150. I need $150 up front. I can have that design for you. I can have the Illustrator file, PNG, and a JPEG in the next 5 days. Especially if I already sketched it in front of them. It's like, and they already said, okay, oh cool, we're halfway done. But then I wouldn't start sketching unless they already agreed to the price. So cool, $150. Oh, that's all, Dan. Okay, let's go. Let's do it. I tell them I'm going to have it for them in the next few days. Or in 5 days. Or I can say in 7 days from now. Yeah, what's today? Tuesday? I have for you Tuesday and next week. Boom, done. So there are 3 parts in the negotiation in the way you run your business. Number 1 is the price. Number 2 is the scope of the work. What is it that they need? Which is why I'm questioning what this means about custom illustration and vinyl card stickers. And 3, what's the amount of time that it's going to take? They call that you want it good, fast, or cheap. And in the business world or somewhere in data and technology, it's called a triple constraint. You are constrained by these 3 things. And so when I'm talking to potential client, they're like, "Hey Dan, I want to get some vinyl stickers. This is the design idea that I have in my head. Can you do that for me?" Like, yeah, that's great. Vinyl stickers, huh? That's awesome. Before you tell me the idea, let me let you know that my price is $850. You get the Illustrator file. You get a PNG and some JPEG, so that if you want to throw that on Facebook or Instagram, talk about how cool you are because you got a cool design, and then go for it. It's yours. The Illustrator file is yours. You can take it wherever you want to go with it, print whatever you want to print with it. But you know what? Don't stop at stickers. You can make some hats. If you like hats, you can get some hats done, some t-shirts. Your whole team can wear them. You can take it to the bowling league, whatever. Oh, I didn't think about that, Dan. I did not know I could do that. Like, yeah, this is art. It can live anywhere. What do we got to do to get started? When can you have it ready? I can have it ready in a week, and I'm going to need a 50% deposit. Is that $425? It's like, yeah, $425. If you give that to me now, and 5 days from now, I'll have a sketch. Once you approve the sketch, then a week later, I'll have the vector file. If you see some changes or edits that need to happen, is during that sketch that you need to tell me. If you don't like the eyes, if you don't like the flames, if you have something else in mind, that's when you let me know. In the meantime, right now, as you write me this check, or I'm pulling out my little credit card reader, we need to look up some examples of the art you like, or what is the decal going to look like, or what is the art style that you have in mind. Let's get that out the way, so when I have the sketch, I followed through on their idea, and there's very little changes that need to be made. How many changes do I get to make? You get to make 1. But after that first, and if you want more changes after that, then it's $150 every change. Well, let's get it right the first time. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Let's get it right the first time. So you have to think of yourself as a true businessman all the way through. Business person. You gotta understand how to talk to clients. You got to understand what you're worth. You got to understand how much time it takes you to do something and what you need to charge. There's a process along all of this stuff, and you need to have a process. And if you don't have a process, you need to align yourself with someone. You need to work with others. You need to collaborate with others and learn from that experience. And pay attention to how your mentor or someone you're working for is handling negotiation. And listen, like, oh snap! I like the way he said that. I like the way she said it. I like the way she responded. I like how they snuck in some words. It's like that. Is like, I'm not playing with you. The way Wayne Humphrey says, I don't pick up my pencil until the deposit hit. The artwork hit different when that deposit hit. Yeah. You got to understand your position and the value that you bring. And now you do have value because you have a process, because you understand yourself, because you know what you're doing. You have a value. And when the customer's like, hey, 50, Dan, I don't know, man. That's, last guy I talked to, he was charging me by the hours, $20 an hour. Well, how many hours did it take? Well, he did take 6 hours, so it's $120. All right, that's cool. All right, well, you should go back to him. But I didn't like his work. I'm not saying nothing about this artist. I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying, like, well, why you come to me? Because I like your work. You didn't like the other artist's work? Yeah, I kind of like it, but I like yours. Okay, well, then that's what mine costs. That's it. And the next time they go back to the other artist, like, well, I guess I'll pay your price. Now the artist's like, yeah, I just watched Dan's live stream, Artist King, and you know what? Yeah, my price is $850. Whoa, what's going on here? You charged me $150 last time. It's like, yeah, that was last time, because now I have in your mind, you're like, now I have a process. I understand what I'm doing. I understand how long it takes. I know what my business is worth. But your answer is like, yeah, I was seriously underselling myself and not making any money on this. And the only way I can continue to live my art career, follow my passion, is if I charge what is worth and what I need to get paid. Well, okay. Well, now it's up to the client to choose the artist they like, and not the artist who's going to give them the smallest cost, that's going to charge them the least. Now we're knocking Fiverr out the box. Nothing against Fiverr, nothing against the people who are on Fiverr, but we cannot live off of $5. We cannot pay our bills off of $5. You can't pay enough internet to just have this internet connection going on right now for $5. Right? So we have to understand ourselves, our business, our costs, our process, and know how to talk to a client, so that then when you tell that client, hey, I need to hit you with an extra charge because it took longer than expected, you don't say that. You've already calculated that into your process. You gave yourself a cushion of 5 extra hours, that now your already price is going down, but you're still okay with that price you're getting paid. Instead of getting paid $75 an hour, now you're getting paid $50 an hour. Okay, $50 is better than 10, better than nothing, better than $5, better than $10 drawing. No, we're not doing that. Have I ever had to do that with a customer? Yes. I've had to change the price. Yes, but that's the triple constraint. The triple constraint says, oh, you're changing the terms of the deal. Well, we're going to have to change the price. You want to add extra time, we have to change the price. You don't just want a vinyl decal. You want the design, the file that's going to be used for a design on a t-shirt. I got to charge you for that. We whatever the conversation comes around to, whatever they want to adjust, we have to adjust the money. We have to adjust the time. Anytime you adjust any one of these things, you have to adjust the other two. That's why I guess that's the word constraint comes into play. Is it constraining 3 things that have to work together. One can be way out here, quality. I want top quality, and I want you to take 6 months to produce my thing, but I only want to pay you, a little bit of money. No, we can't do that. It all has to work together. If your budget is not there, then let's scale it down to the art style that's going to fit this budget and the amount of time that's going to fit this deal. Is the price of the product. And have I ever had to do that? Yes, I did have to do that. And did I ever have problems? I did in the beginning. When starting out, you always have problems with clients. And it's not that the client is bad, it's that you don't know what you're doing. I'm not saying you artist or you maybe you, but as an artist, when you're starting out, you don't know what's happening. You just jump out there and it's like, hey, I can do logos. And when I first started doing logos, and I don't have any paper, this whole desk, I do have some over there. When I started doing logos, I handed out the logo to the client on a piece of paper. That's not how you do a logo, unless they're paying you just to be the concept artist. Nowadays, when I do a logo, it's you get a digital file for the branding of your company, for the marketing of your company, for the identity of your company. And if your company is important to you, then the price of that logo is going to be important too. But when you're starting out, you don't know these things, so you promise stuff to people. People promise things to you, and next thing you know, you're chasing people to pay you what they owe you because you didn't get a deposit, because you didn't have a working agreement, you didn't have a document, you didn't have a lot of different things, a process. You took longer than you needed to, and so now that deal, you wasted your time. They're not paid you your money, and now you're not gonna. That's not a good business situation to be in. But you didn't know. That's what happens when we start out. All right, so I kind of went off a little extra. I'm sorry. How long have I been on the internet? Can't tell. 47. Dang, that's a lot of time. I'm sorry, y'all. Thank you for interacting. Thank you for giving me your attention, and please share this video with others. Please spread the word. We have a free meetup every month, and right now we're at the Microsoft Store. Check it out. Come on through. It's free. Everything I said right now is exactly what I talk about when I'm in the meetups. And ask all the questions you want. Please ask questions, because I'm very interested in making sure the artists get paid what they're worth. All right, this DTM, Delta Tango Mike. Let me write down my name here. You guys know who I am. Delta Tango Mike. And check out my YouTube channels. I got 2 of them. Right now I've been posting a lot of videos. That's an ugly K. Let me fix that. Because I did that. There you go. So I got Art is King. And I've been posting this on YouTube. Go to YouTube, Art is King. And what I've been doing is a day in the life of a professional illustrator. And that is called Art Life All Day. And then some of this artwork that I'm doing is showing up at the other channel on YouTube, Vector Maestros. Hey, thanks for watching. This is Delta Tango Mike. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter under Delta Tango Mike. And please tag me in your work. I like to see what you're working on. Check out some more tutorials and demos at the YouTube channel, Vector Maestros. And if you're interested in art business discussions and interviews with artists, check out the YouTube channel, Art is King. Until next time, peace out.